town in the state of Nevada lies a hotel that on all appearances seems to be plain and normal, and sometimes even friendly. But one thing you don't know is that this hotel has history. History you say? Haunted history. The history of the Mizpah is one of people check in, and those people don't check out. So if you catch yourself on a lonely stretch of road in the middle of Nevada, and there's only one place to stay, I suggest you choose the one that has the Lady in Red. Sure. A place where you check in, but you never check out. Welcome to Haunted Stories with your host, Scott Liddell.
Who is the Lady in Red?
When you are to all of it, you know what experiences you encounter. But you know, for the most part, like I said, it's a lot of people will come in here and say that the just the feeling of the building, exactly, and it's always been positive here. Never anything negative or scary. We've never had anybody, you know, be frightened by what goes on here. Curious, a little intrigued by it because maybe they've never experienced any kind of thing like that, and so it's really interesting, and that's why we put that book at the front desk so that people.
Well, reading through some of the stories, I'm getting chills in my hair just standing in end.
Yeah.
Now, can you tell us what happened down in the basement area of the Mizpah Hotel? Now, can you tell us what happened down in the basement area of the Mizpah Hotel? Now,
So this is the belly of the beast. Lots of old places in the hotel. We use a lot now for maintenance purposes and that. And so I have to get special employees because a lot of times I can't get my workers to stay down here and work. So,
wow.
But let's go over first, and I'll take you to the old vault area where supposedly the miners dug up and stole the payroll and then were murdered on their way out. So we'll go take a look at that area first. Okay.
Standing on end. Wow, it's like you're stepping back in history.
I gotta remember this room.
Wow.
So you can see, you know, it's really, really old. I think the one thing that I always think about when I come down this basement is they back then in the early 1900s, the equipment that they had to actually dig this basement out. Do you know how much work they must have done? Exactly. And yeah, really.
Now, originally was this only one floor, the hotel itself, and then they added on?
What it was is that there used to be, I have a picture upstairs I could show you. This was a wooden building above the Mizpah Hotel. And they took that part, which I believe this basement was under that part of the hotel. And then they just built up from here and maybe extended the basement at that time. So anyway, but back in here is where the old, this was the original vault where they stored the payroll and all that kind of stuff. And but you can see, look at the thickness of the walls.
Wow.
And you can see they even did the ceiling. But they said it was always kind of a joke because in a mining town, who would leave the floor dirt?
Right.
Because supposedly that's what happened is the two miners were hired by someone to dig up into the basement and steal the payroll. And so they dug up the next morning when they came in, the payroll was gone and there was the tunnel. So they went down through it and found the two miners dead at the other end. So whoever hired them murdered him at the other end and took all the cash.
Did they ever catch the third person?
No. And, people always say, oh, where's all this stuff documented, names, all stuff? And I always tell them, back in the early 1900s, this was a very, very political, very wild type of area. The Mizpah was like the grand place to be, but in the same token, there was a lot of things that went on here that were people just turned their head because it was very political. Very, these guys releasing these claims from these very powerful men, and so a lot of stuff went on here that probably was never really documented. So,
well, and just being able to step in here, you can really feel the history, and I can't imagine a miner being underground, no oxygen, really having to really sweat it out and put their legs and their arms and their hands and to really dig. To do something like that took a big.
It did, and to imagine, and my husband grew up here, and he said that there used to be tunnels, a tunnel that actually came into the basement of the Mizpah from the mines, but he says he can't remember where it was at, where it came in at, but he can remember because they used to go down into the shafts, when he was a kid. And what they probably did is they probably brought the ore once it was milled and ready to process out.
Just said ore.
Yeah. Oh, did it really?
Wow. That's awesome.
When they processed it and had it into the blocks and had it in here before it went out on the trains, is that they didn't go above ground with it because there was always that potential of getting robbed or stolen. So they probably did have tunnels that had direct access, into these lockdown areas. So
because that's one of the things I've noticed is in like Virginia City and some of these other towns that they had literally tunnels reaching from underneath into these cities.
Yep, they did.
Wow.
Yep.
Is that kind of like a staple of most towns like that?
It is, and that is kind of common in most of the old mining communities. Even I've been up in Washington and Idaho, up in that country, and their architecture, everything is similar to this here. And I've been in their basements and their buildings, and they're very similar to Tonopah.
Do you smell like kind of the faint cigar smell?
Oh yeah, and you'll smell that. And actually, I'll go up and I'll be, thinking it's a guest, and I'll be sniffing doors, and I'm like, nope, it's the ghosts.
That is just crazy. It's like a very hint of a cigar smell right about here.
Yeah, very subtle.
This is amazing, and you can tell it's just all hand done.
Yeah, exactly. And this concrete is over 100 years old, and our sidewalks outside, a lot of them are 100 years old, and the town has tried to replace some of this old concrete, and they said it is hard. They've never seen anything concrete as hard as this old concrete was.
Can you tell me what happened here? Can you tell me who murdered you? Fine. Did you climb down from this vault? Of course. Well, I'm not going to be here very long, but if there's anything you want to say, a message to a loved one, sent, a loved one, a friend, a family member, please scream it really loud right here in the recorder I'm holding in my left hand. This thing is just going nuts. Thank you, and just hope you know that we're here to be able to keep your memory alive. That is insane.
I'll show you this part back here too. This is you can really see the history and how old all of this is when you get back into some of these areas. Yeah, see, this is the original foundation over here of the hotel. And
Wow,
then,
look at the old lantern.
Yeah.
That is insane.
And then this is an old ore bucket that they placed in here one time. They did tours down here. But this is an actual ore bucket that they used to use, and this is what they pulled up on the head frames to bring the ore up to the surface. So,
Wow. Look at the water pump.
yeah.
I just feel like it's like you step back and it just takes you
Yeah. Yeah. So let's go to the front of the hotel now. I'll show you what the old front of the hotel is. Turn my lights out here. Wait till you kind of get out here. It's like even this door. Can you imagine? Just, you know, latch it.
Wow.
I always say this is like the, what do you call it? The old,
The old peephole.
exactly. That's how they checked out who you were before you came in.
My office is going nuts. It just doesn't do that. It doesn't go friend.
Yeah. We can generally sense the presence of people. They really, feel like you're remembering them or addressing them. So, when Tara became with my daughter one day, she wanted to see the front and I took her and she had to walk it in. She seen her shadow. It scared her to death. Let me get back to her. I can turn the light on for you. See, this is one of the original entry doors to the hotel, and I never quite figured this actually was street level.
Uh-huh.
And so the doors going into the wooden part of the hotel are right in here, this area. Now it kind of has that ramp that goes over outside.
Uh-huh.
That's what we're under. We're under
Oh,
the
wow.
original side of the hotel. And this was the side that was actually built in like I think 1905 or 1903. It's on the building outside.
Wow.
But yeah, so this was the actual front of the hotel at one time.
Now you can see the support beams.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and just imagine.
Look how.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
It's like touching history. I love this.
Yeah. Yeah, and these were the windows. Yeah, so these were the windows going into the. Somebody told me one side was a barber shop, and like a cafe or something was the other side.
Wow.
So
Makes sense.
yeah. So this is that stone part that you see out the front. Of course, it's not the stone now. They changed it out. But
Now they say that quartz and stuff in the rock is a great conductor, and so spirits like to imprint their messages into the quartz and the rock. So
yeah.
that might be where you're getting a lot of this from
It-
too. It's like their version of a recorder nowadays.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and all of this stone here was actually taken from the surrounding hills. And I always ask everybody, why did they tear all of those mills and stuff down that were here?
Mhm.
And they said that because there really isn't any wood here, there isn't any trees here. So everything that they had to build, all that stuff, they had to freight in here or ship in here. And so when they left here, they took it with them because it was so valuable for this area. And that's why most of the structures are still here were made from the stone. But when they first came to Tonopah, they were tents and they brought water in barrels. A lot of them took the old barrels and made barrel houses and into the side of the hill for protection from the elements.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, they used to take the barrels and they'd fill them full of dirt so they'd have some insulation. And then they would take the barrels and they would kind of dig into the side of the hill, and then they put a little bit of a roof over the top of it. So
That's awesome. I can't imagine that sitting
yeah.
outside of a mountain.
Yeah, what always gets me that I always think about how hardy the people had to have been
Mhm.
here. And if you go down to the old graveyard and you read the old gravestones and stuff, you can really see the diversity in cultures that were here. The immigrants that came here, because this Nevada was one of the last big gold strikes or silver strikes of the Americans.
Mhm.
So it's pretty interesting.
I love this.
Yeah.
To me, when I first came in and I sat down, it's like I felt like you can live here.
Exactly.
That's the feeling I got, and that's even when we had dinner last night. It's like I could see myself laying out and just being happy.
Yeah. And I see a lot of people that come to the hotel, and I'll take them upstairs to show them rooms or something. And we get in the elevator, you'll push the button to go to the 3rd floor or something, and it'll take you to the 5th floor. the doors will open, and someone will be standing there that knows the people that I'm with that haven't met for 20 years.
Wow.
And the owner, Nancy, she says the same thing. She says the Misspot is a place to bring people, that brings people together. It's kind of a connection thing.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's an old connection or a new connection, like you said, you walk into this hotel, you just feel like you're at home.
Yeah.
And you feel like you've known people forever. It's really weird how that all works. So.
And it was so weird when I first walked in. I know she said I was in room 504. I thought she said 504, but it was 505, and I kept using the card, and it wouldn't work. And I'm like, oh, I looked at the card at the bottom of it, it said 505, and I went around. But yeah, I got that feeling when you walk near room 504 in that hall, like that corner hall area.
Yeah, and that's it. The room numbers probably were different back then. And 502, that side of the hallway is the side that she was supposedly murdered on. But I designed the suite in 504 in her honor. And Gail, a housekeeper that I have up there on the weekends, who's out for medical reasons right now, Gail is very in tune to her. Gail can call her out and things will start flying, orbs will be flying around the room and everything. And anyway, so Gail, I did this room in her honor, and we said, okay, this is the Lady in Red suite. And she actually told Gail to thank me because I gave her what she always deserved.
That's awesome.
And so she basically wonders. I had a medium also tell me that she was a kept woman, and that she was actually living down the hall at the other end of the hallway. And so that's why I think people feel her presence, not just in one specific place on the 5th floor. She's
even going out of the elevator, like I said last night, going into the room at the end of the night, my hair, like it was standing on end, and it was just kind of like you walk through time to the history.
I even go up there sometimes, and it almost feels like the building's
swaying. Exactly. That's kind of the feeling I had. Because I did a double take last night. Thinking I saw something, but it just was like, it's not normal for me to do it unless I see something.
It's a great old place. So anyway, well,
thank you for an awesome tour. And you know, if you want, we can go back up top, and I'd love to see the picture. And I can play you the EVP we had from last night. Mary's Had a Little Lamb.
Great. Yeah. I know the last ones that were here that Tracy gave a tour to. My husband had passed away this last year, and she said when they were coming up through the hallway, that someone said hello, and they sent it to me because it's his voice.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll take you up and I'll show you that picture, and it gives you a better perception of what was here and what came later. And really, once you walk through this area here, this is where you go into the newer side of the house. That's the older side. Which I say newer. Newer was 1908, so. But it's like there's all these rooms and all kinds of stuff down through years.
Have you, when they did any renovation, have they found anything in the walls?
No, but I understand. When you walk into the Misspot, it's real. It's not like somebody came in here and built an amusement park or a theme hotel. This is the real deal. Yeah. You know, it really is.
This blows away Stanley, hands down.
So if you ever find yourself traveling down the road